It is Sunday, and this is Swede Live. It looks like there isn't really any audience right now, so I'll wait a little and see if an audience is going to show up soon. There's been a lot of stuff going on in this week, the week that's ending today, and I'll talk a little about that. I'm waiting to see if there is an audience that's going to show up here. Let's have a look. There is a lot going on in Sweden and in the world right now. So there's definitely stuff to talk about. I hope you all had a great week. I certainly hope so. There was a trial in Sweden. There's pretty much a political process. We can talk about that. Oh, there are some people in here now. That's wonderful. We have 2 people in the chat, so that's great. That's awesome. So go ahead and share this live stream on social media with your friends, your family, whatever. That'd be awesome if you do that. Really appreciate that. Because, well, the more the merrier, you know. And tell your friends and family, do all of that good stuff. And hey, click the like button. That'd be awesome. So, a few things that happened was that there was a pro-life march in Gothenburg in Sweden. That's awesome. I'm not sure exactly how many people joined up. There are some restrictions in Sweden how many people can show up at events, but that happened. Also, pro-life march. I thought that abortion were banned in Poland, but apparently some abortions are allowed. But the president showed up in the pro-life march. Actually, the march was pro-life and pro-family. At least that's what I read. So I think that's awesome. Okay. So let's have a look and see if there are any coming in here. One moment. President Trump has appointed a new member of the U.S. Supreme Court. I mean, speaking of abortion and all of that stuff. Oh, apparently I'm hitting the mic. Okay, I'll try not to do that. So President Trump appointed Amy Coney Barrett, who, if I understood things correctly, she's a conservative, and I think she's not really a fan of abortion, so that's wonderful. She has a large family. I mean, that shouldn't really matter to me or to anyone, but I saw that the left are attacking her because she adopted 2 children from Haiti, because somehow it's a bad thing to give kids without homes a home, apparently. I also saw a comment from someone who, I don't remember his name, but he called himself a supporter of several Democratic candidates, and he said that he wanted to know the circumstances of the adoption, because as he said it, transracial adoptions could cause traumas. That's what he said. So apparently the left now thinks it's a bad thing to adopt children who don't look like you. I mean, I think it's crazy, but well, some people on the left, that probably not everyone on the left, but some people on the left. So we got the wonderful Alicia Bell in here. We got Charles Keaton in here, and that's great. So I'm happy that you're here. So let's see. Yeah, Alicia Bell says hello, and Charles Keaton says Keaton here. So hello to you. We got 5 people in here, and there are 2 likes, so that's great. I like to talk about Aron Flam. Aron Flam. Just a few words. The trial was a few days ago. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. Well, it was a few days ago. And the sentence will be in on October 9th, so they're making him wait for the sentence. We'll see what happens. But he was on trial because he wrote a book. Well, basically, this is what happened. Long story short, he wrote a book called "This Is a Swedish Tiger," and it's a book about Sweden's policies during World War II and about Swedish silence culture. How in Sweden we don't talk about things, we just sweep it under a rug and we keep quiet. We don't want to talk about difficult stuff, like, for instance, Sweden's policies during World War II, when Sweden basically were in bed with the Nazis, I mean, with the Third Reich. And on this book, on the cover, he put a tiger that resembled something called the Swedish tiger. The Swedish tiger is known as en svensk tiger, a Swedish tiger, but of course it could also mean a Swede keeps silent, because the word tiger or tiger means tiger and it means to be quiet. It has a dual meaning in Swedish. But he made his own version of it. He had it do the Hitler salute, and he put the swastika on the tiger. Sort of, the tiger was to symbolize Sweden and Sweden's policies during World War II. So he was sued for copyright infringement by a privately owned museum in Sweden, and they wanted to pay millions of kroner for this. Although his picture is satirical and it's a different picture, it's not the same picture, but that's what they're suing him for. And then a public prosecutor took this case too. So now the Swedish government, they are after him too. So he ended up in trial, and I know that Charles was reading about this stuff too. So, and I don't know how many else here have been following this, but I would say that the process against Aron Flam is a political process, and we'll see how it all ends. There are some interesting things about this case. Aron Flam is a Swedish stand-up comedian and author, podcaster, YouTuber, a lot of stuff. He is of Jewish background. He wrote a book about Sweden's policies during World War II, and the person from the museum who sued him, she claimed that he is a member. I mean, she has claimed that he is a member of the Nordic resistance movements. Basically, that he would be a Nazi. I don't think that the Nordic resistance movement accepts Jews as members. So even if he would like to be a member, they wouldn't let him in. I mean, he's not, obviously. His entire book pretty much proves the opposite. Let's see, we have someone named Johan Karlström Kulturkriget here. He says hi, hello to you. I'm happy that you're here. So, as I said before, share this on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, whatever you use. Just share this live stream and let your friends know, your family know that this live stream is on. And as I said last week, this is my new time to live stream. It's Sundays, every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I mean US time zones, and 8 p.m. Central European Time. So it's going to be the same thing next week. So yeah, Alicia Bell says Aron Flam's case is really sad. It is. We'll see what happens. I mean, I hope that he will be acquitted of all charges. I kind of think he should be given restitution for all the stuff that's been done to him. But we'll see. I read what was going on in the trial, and when they asked him, he said that, yeah, my grandparents on my father's side, they were in the camps. My grandma served us food and talked about the Holocaust. That's what was going on. So no, I don't think that Aron Flam is a member of the Nordic resistance movement. Not at all. And when they asked her about it in the trial, this woman who sued him from the museum, about those claims. She didn't want to answer that question. Maybe she realized that she made a fool of herself. Well, we'll see. There's been a few other things going on. Let's see here. There was, I think it was the deputy police chief of Sweden. Sometimes they just call him the head of police in Sweden. What's his name? Löving. But I think he is actually a deputy. But he said on TV that there are 40 criminal clans in Sweden, by which he means people who belong to clan culture and who arrived to Sweden from countries where clans is a thing, the Middle East and places like that. And he said there are 40 such clans in Sweden, and of course there's a lot of debate about that in Sweden, that you shouldn't call a clan a clan. Let's see. Johan Karlström, Kulturkriget, says people need to start suing for defamation and stuff. If racism is the worst thing ever, then it would follow that it's also the worst thing one can be called. I don't really care if someone calls me a racist because, well, I know what I am and what I'm not, so yeah. But sure, claiming that Aron Flam would be a member of the Nordic resistance movement is beyond stupid. Also, last week I talked about how this member of the Norwegian Parliament, Christian Tybring-Gjedde, how he nominated Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize for 2021, and Trump was also nominated by a member of Sweden's parliament, a man named Magnus Jacobsson, I think, who is a Christian Democrat. So he has now been nominated by both a Norwegian and a Swedish parliamentarian. However, or interestingly enough, Trump called them both up to thank for the nomination, and apparently at least the Swedish parliamentarian, Magnus Jacobsson, he was really surprised. He thought it was a prank first, but then he looked it up and found out that it was really Trump who had called him, and they had talked a little about peace work in the Middle East and also Trump's work on creating peace between Kosovo and Serbia, something that our media hasn't talked about at all. But yeah, so that's interesting. Yeah, I'll ask you something. Since we have a few people in here now, we have 7 people in here. So I'll ask you, where are you from? From which country, or yeah, where do you people come from? And what are the hot issues in your area? Which topics are discussed where you live? Let's see. Kashinnoki says, good to see you, Swede. Well, it's good to see you too. And she says Trump should be given the Nobel Peace Prize. He absolutely should. I mean, if you look at some of the people they've given it to before, they gave the Peace Prize to Yasser Arafat. I mean, what for? For a deal that he broke. And they gave the Peace Prize to Barack Obama before he even became president, when he was only president-elect, and they had no idea what his policies would be. Let's see. Alicia Bell says Wisconsin. That's a wonderful place. What's going on in Wisconsin? And Charles Kidden says, well, I was born and raised in Härnösand, Sweden, but I live in Uppsala, Sweden. Yeah, what's going on in Uppsala these days? I mean, apart from what I talked about last week with Sweden's ex-prime minister Fredrik Reinfeldt, who wants to solve Uppsala's crime problems by peace dances, I think it was. That's kind of insane, but I think that was his plan. There's actually a lot of stuff about Trump recently, and that's not really strange at all, because well, the election is coming up. It's in the beginning of, I think it's November 3rd. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the election is on the 3rd of November. Let's see. Kashin says, I live in Wisconsin, born in Ohio. Oh, yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. So I hope everything's well in Wisconsin, but you can let me know. I appreciate that. Alicia Bell says, we're ready to recall our governor. He's an idiot. As soon as the CDC said 3 feet is enough space and masks are minimally helpful, he added 60 days more of the mask mandate. Yeah, that's crazy. And you know, I said this last week, but there might be some people here. There might be some people here who didn't see the live stream last week, so I'll say it again. I actually think that the Swedish strategy when it comes to COVID-19 basically is correct. I think the big problem with Sweden isn't the strategy. The problem is that Sweden wasn't prepared to protect their elders or protect people with pre-existing conditions. But I think the strategy in itself is correct. I think it's kind of a hysteria. I mean, I'm not a virologist or anything, but from what I understand, the numbers we saw in the beginning of this COVID-19 outbreak were built on computer simulations. The same kind of simulations they make to predict, the so-called climate crisis. So I'm going to say I think it's a hysteria. Of course, we need to protect the elder. We need to protect people with pre-existing conditions, and we need to be prepared for things that can happen. But apart from that, I think the Swedish strategy is correct. You know, even a broken watch will show the right time twice a day. Let's see. Charles Kidden says, what's going on in Uppsala? Well, there was an explosion in Gränby the other day. Oh, it was. Gränby, isn't that where one of the large supermarkets is? Let's see. Paul Maciek says, and Trump will win in a colossal landslide. Oh, you think so? I mean, I hope you're right. Metalhead Viking says, nice beard, man. Oh, thanks a lot. And I'm happy to see you here. That's great. So you can all tell your friends and family that this live stream is on. You can share it on your social media. That'll be awesome. You can absolutely go ahead and do that. Let's see. Charles Kinnunen says, grenade or bomb, a deliberate detonation. Oh. What were they targeting in Gränby, Uppsala anyway? I mean, if it was deliberate. And Alicia Bell says, hit the thumbs up. Yeah, you can absolutely go ahead and do that. I see 5 thumbs up, but it's possible that the numbers I see are off a little. And to me, it looks like there are 11 people in the live stream. Could be more. I mean, or less. I don't know, because I don't know how much we can trust these numbers. Let's see. Johan Karlström Kulturkrit says, how are YouTube treating you? Well, I'm still on YouTube. They haven't given me any warnings or anything. So I suppose that way I could say that they're treating me well so far. Let's see. Speaking of Sweden, at Gothenburg University and Gothenburg is the second biggest city in Sweden. It's on the west coast. It's the biggest port in Sweden. They have a university, and apparently at a class there for future teachers of religion. Yeah, that's a subject in the public schools in Sweden. They were told by the teacher that Jesus was a cult leader, and that people had, according to him, the false notion that he was some kind of early liberator of women. And of course, I made a video about this. Nothing's going to happen to this teacher. I mean, he's not going to get fired. He probably won't receive any warnings. Of course, no one is going to attack him in any way. And I don't say anyone should, at least not physically, although he's dead wrong. I mean, culturally, there wouldn't be a Western civilization without Christianity. I mean, apart from Christianity being true, apart from Jesus Christ being the savior of mankind, apart from all of that, it's just factually incorrect. but nothing happens to him, and it shouldn't, obviously. But as I said in my comment that I made a few days ago, let's say he would have said something like that about Muhammad instead. All HELL would have broken loose. We know that would have happened, but he didn't. He said that Jesus was a cult leader. Actually, apparently he asked the class if there were any Christians there, and one girl raised her hand out of the entire class, and then he had said something along the lines of course, little you. So he was, he was kind of not being very nice about it, and then he said those things. So you can mock Jesus all you want. That's not a problem in Sweden, but if you mock Muhammad or Islam, then you're in trouble. That's the point I'm trying to make. Let's see. Kashanyoki says most people want Governor Evers to be removed from office because he came up with a mask. He did this to affect the national election. Oh, Alicia Bell says Evers is going to hand over Wisconsin to Trump. I kind of hope he is. Oh, she also says Kenosha was the last straw. Yeah, you're probably right about that. Charles Keaton says, I do not know. The police thinks that the blast was a revenge for an earlier shooting. Oh, so this could be some kind of a gang war or something? Metalhead Viking says, Carol B says she will be voting for Biden, and if Trump wins, she will move to Nigeria. Bon voyage! Have a good trip. Actually, I did see a story about Nigeria a few days ago. And it was about the murder of Christians. The story had the headline, Black Christian lives apparently, or was it obviously anyway, Black Christian lives obviously do not matter. The story was about how in the last 2 decades, 100,000 Christians have been killed in Nigeria. And as far as I know, the only leader in the West who has called this out is Trump. Obama didn't, because I guess he didn't want to annoy the Muslims. But that's going on in Nigeria, and that's horrible. So we need to pray for Nigeria. And I mean, really, the world needs to know about this. But yeah, so she can move to Nigeria if she wants to, if they let her in. I don't know. Oh, it was Cardi B. Oh, okay. Okay. Charles Kidden says, has any of the celebrities who have threatened to move if this or that politician wins an election ever really moved? I don't know if any celebrities actually moved. Not even Joel Kinnaman. I'm not sure how you pronounce him in America, Joel Kinnaman. Anyway, he has a dual Swedish and American citizenship. And as far as I know, he still lives in the US. Before Trump was elected, he said that he would move to Sweden if Trump won, but then he decided to stay in the US. So apparently, he still thinks the US is better than Sweden since he decided to stay there. I did see a story a few years ago about one family that actually moved to Canada, but I mean, they were not celebrities. It was just a random Democrat family who actually did move to Canada. So, okay, at least they left. But you know my offensive joke about that. When they say they're going to move to Canada if Trump gets elected or if he gets re-elected, why Canada? Why don't they move to Mexico instead? Why do they want to live in Canada? Let's see. Alicia Bell says Rosie O'Donnell is still here. Yeah, she is. Oh, Alicia Bell says Joel K is Swedish. I thought he looked like a Scandi. Yeah, I think he's got one Swedish and one American parent. I think that's the thing, and that's why he's got dual citizenship. So, since the election is coming up soon in America, who will win the election? Will Trump win or will Biden win? And who do you want to win? So let's put it like this. Who do you think will win and who do you want to win? And maybe it's the same person or maybe not. Metalhead Viking says, who will win the first debate? That'll be interesting. I mean, I think that Trump will win the debate, but who knows? Maybe Biden is going to amaze us all and be really bright and clear. Who knows? I saw that Trump had tweeted that they should drug test Biden before the debate and that he would gladly be drug tested too. That would be interesting. I don't think that's going to happen, but that would be interesting. And the debate will be, let's see, in 2 days from now, I think. Charles Keaton says, according to the Swedish Broadcast Corporation, Trump will not stand a chance to win the election. Yeah, I think they're wrong this time too. Who knows? We'll see. Kashinyoki says, Trump will win. Metalhead Viking says, Sleepy Joe, come on, man. Hey, I saw this really awesome video a few days ago. There's this YouTube channel called Freedom Tunes, and they make animations where they talk about politics, or they kind of make fun of it from a libertarian perspective. I guess you could say an American libertarian perspective, because American libertarians are often different than libertarians in Scandinavia. Anyway, they made this music video, sort of, where they did a cover of the old song "Don't You Want Me," and instead it says "Why won't you debate me?" and it's Donald Trump asking Joe Biden. I mean, you should just go look at it. It's wonderful. Let's see here. Johan Karlström Kulturkris says last election was epic. Followed it on 4chan. Oh yeah, it was epic. I was up all night, actually watching Swedish TV and Norwegian TV, and then sometimes going into different American YouTube channels looking at the numbers. But you know, the faces of the mainstream media journalists in Scandinavia when he was winning state after state, that was just priceless. So I am hoping for the same thing again on November 3rd. I'm not sure if I'll be able to follow it that night because it's going to be really late at night in this part of the world, here in the Baltics. We'll see, because I don't know which weekday it is. Let's see. Alicia Bell says, I call all races doofus. Yes, absolutely. Johan Karlström Kulturkris says, watching Swedish TV is like a psychedelic trip in a bad way. Well, yeah, obviously. Alicia Bell says, I can't wait to see Biden try to escape his horrible history. What history are you talking about? He's only been a member of Congress since 1973. They haven't really given him a chance to do anything positive yet. I mean, he's only had 47 years to do anything positive for his country and for the people who live in America. That's not a long time. And yeah, there's a lot of sarcasm in what I just said. But yeah. And I'm sure you all remember the interview that Joe Biden did with this black YouTuber who calls himself Charlemagne the God, I think, where Joe Biden kind of ended it by saying, "If you don't vote for me, you ain't black." I mean, I'm surprised that the YouTuber didn't say anything then, because I was like, "Yeah, he really did it there." Alicia Bell, you have to have an Indian accent to work in assembly. Biden said that. Oh well, that shouldn't surprise me. I'm trying to think. Have I been to 7-Eleven in America? I'm not sure. I've been to gas stations in America, but I don't remember. But yeah, I'm sure he could have said something like that. But yeah. Kashinyoki says if Biden wins, the USA will be a socialist country under control of the CCP. The CCP is funding the Biden-Harris ticket. I'm not sure what CCP stands for. So please let me know. Charles Keaton says 7-Eleven. I thought that Apu worked the Quickie Mart. Yeah, he did until they removed him, but I hope they'll get him back into The Simpsons. Alicia Bell says, then he adds Kamala Harris to his ticket, please. Yeah, right. She is, if I remember correctly, her dad is Jamaican and her mom is from India. So yeah, I wonder if he's trying to score some points there. But she is not that popular with anyone, as far as I know. I mean, she doesn't seem to be popular with Black Americans. I don't know about Americans of Indian descent. I mean, Indians from Asia. I don't know. Oh, the Chinese Communist Party. Yeah, actually, there were some things revealed about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden just this week, I think, about all the business that they had been doing in Ukraine and in China. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of dirty business going on there. So yeah, Alicia Bell says Kamala the Slaver Harris. Yeah, didn't she boast about how she got really cheap labor for California by putting people in jail or something like that? Like how she had people work for $1 an hour or something insane. Metalhead Viking, poor kids are just as smart as white kids. Yeah, that was Joe Biden. Yeah, how is he going to get away from all his crazy statements that he made before? Plus, he's making new statements every now and then. That would be interesting if he'll be able to run away from them somehow. And yeah, Swedish. Well, mainstream media in Sweden, I don't watch it at all. Pretty much, I did actually watch it a few days ago because I wanted to see one specific thing. Uh, one of my friends in Sweden was in a Trump debate on Swedish TV, so I wanted to see that. But that's about it. That's about it. Apart from that, I haven't watched Swedish TV in like a year or something. Metalhead Viking, you know the thing. Yeah, wasn't that he couldn't say the Constitution, so he said, you know the thing. Yeah, that's great. Or I mean, that's hilarious. I mean, yeah, if he gets elected, I don't know. Then I'll be really really surprised. Alicia Bell says Kamala revels in her abuse of the law. As a prosecutor, that is criminal. Yeah, so I guess they make kind of a good couple then. I mean, they make a good ticket in their own weird way. But yeah, I'll be surprised if they win. I'll tell you that. And I've seen different numbers when it comes to polls. Some people say, but I mean, I am. I kind of think that there will be a Trump landslide. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I'm starting to think there's going to be a Trump landslide. I've seen numbers that he has what was it, 52 53% approval rating as a whole among the people who are willing to be polled, and 30% among black voters, which is a lot more than, well, pretty much any Republican president in a long time. And it also said that 60% of Hispanic voters are going to vote for Trump. I don't know if I believe that. That sounds really like a crazy number, but we will see. I'm just saying there might be a landslide. We'll see. So uh, let's see. Alicia Bell says hit the thumbs up. Yeah, you can absolutely go ahead and do that. And hey, if you want to support my work, you can do that too. Super chats are always appreciated. Uh, I'd like to ask you something else that we can throw in here. What is the freedom of speech situation in your country? If you live in Sweden, we kind of know, but you can give us your perspective on it anyway. Sweden, America, wherever you're at, what is the situation for freedom of speech in your country? Uh, let's see here. Lynn M says Joe Biden couldn't even recite the pledge of the allegiance to the flag. that school children have learned by heart for decades. Everyone used to recite it regularly. It's not very long. No, yeah, he couldn't? Okay. Kashinaki says the Democratic Party are going to harvest votes from the dead. Let's see. Metalhead Viking says, is it true that Xi Jinping ostracized and humiliated his own father during the Chinese Cultural Revolution? Oh, I don't know. Alicia Bell says, I never heard that, but it happened a lot during the revolution. Oh, I'm sure it could. I'm sure it did. Let's see. Sealands says, hi, Swede. Well, hello to you too. I'm happy that you're here. Uh, so, yeah. Anyway, do you have anything to say about freedom of speech in your country? I could say a lot about freedom of speech in Sweden. I'm not in Sweden right now, and I'm really happy about that. But yeah, I could. Like I mentioned earlier in this live stream about Aron Flam and the case against Aron Flam, basically, for writing a book. That's basically it. For writing a book about Sweden's policies during World War II and how Sweden was in bed with Nazi Germany, because we were. That's a fact. And he actually found some facts that weren't known in Sweden before, because a lot of Swedes know that that Sweden was kind of working with Germany during World War II, but I didn't know before that that Sweden had to pay reparations, but as long as they weren't called reparations. Uh, the demand Sweden had to the negotiations in Washington, D.C. was that don't call it reparations, call it something else. So they called them voluntary contributions. Aron Flam found these in American archives because this information had been removed from Swedish archives for some odd reason. So he found it when he went to the US to look in their archives. He also found out, and this is interesting, he found out that Sweden paid these voluntary donations that were actually actual reparations to Germanic countries only. And this was Sweden in the 1950s under a leftist government of the Social Democrats. But apparently, they much prefer to give money to countries like the Netherlands and Norway rather than non Germanic countries. Isn't that interesting? Anyway, and those are some of the things that are in his book. I mean, I haven't read the book yet. I need to do that. I haven't. I've read about the book, I've heard him talk about it. So I know a little about what's in the book, but I haven't read it yet. And if I understood correctly, he's also working on an English translation of the book. We'll see what happens if he will be allowed to sell the book now. We'll see what happens with his sentence. I hope he will be acquitted. But anyway, yeah. So that's freedom of speech in Sweden. That's a problem. Let's see. Metalhead Viking says, I think the problem here in Sweden is that people just don't think freedom of speech is that important. Or they think that if someone gets offended, you shouldn't say it. And hey, I'm saying you should or you shouldn't. I'm talking about if it should be legal or not. Alicia Bell says, we have it officially, but social pressures are immense because the left is violently stupid and controlling. That's true. That's true. But in America, so far, the government is not going after you. That's kind of the difference. But yeah, absolutely. Speaking of this, by the way, one of the things that Trump has done recently is that he has banned the US government from doing business with companies who promote critical race theory, which basically just is a different kind of racism. So I think that's wonderful. Trump is doing a lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff. And this is kind of related to freedom of speech, I think. Let's see. Lynn M says harvesting votes from the dead is from the problem that exists with people being dead for years, still getting mail-in ballots at their last known address. They don't clean out their voter rolls. Oh wow. Kashanyoka says harvesting votes is to have people vote using the names of dead people during an election. Yeah, that's awful. But yeah, I know that happens. So we have about 15 to 20 minutes left, and I'll do this live stream again next week at this time, just so you know, in case there's someone new here. Uh, one of the political youth organizations in Sweden, uh, the Liberal Youth Association, Liberala ungdomsförbundet, which is the youth branch of the Liberal Party. The Liberal Party in Sweden is supposedly socially liberal, which means they are supposed to be in favor of market economy, but they want a welfare state on top of that, if you can even have that. But that's kind of the idea. But well, anyway, their youth organization wants to impose a meat tax in Sweden. Yeah, you heard right, a meat tax. Well, I don't know if they'll get that through, but that's what they want to do. And they're actually, they used to be considered a part of the right. I mean, I don't think they're right wing in any way, but yeah. Lynn M says Trump is the best US president we have had in a long time, and 2 Nobel Peace Prize nominations. Absolutely. To the best of my knowledge, he's the best president since Abraham Lincoln, but hey, I don't have detailed knowledge of every US president, so there might be someone else we could throw in there. Alicia Bell says meat. Did you say meat? Yes, I said meat. The meat that you eat. That meat. Kashanyoki says freedom of speech is gradually decreasing in the US because of social pressure. Yeah, yeah, and that's horrible. But the difference is you still have the First and the Second Amendment, and don't let anyone touch it. And that's another reason why you don't want Biden for president, in my opinion, because you need someone who stands up for the Constitution, including the First and Second Amendments, because the Second Amendment protects the First. That's the way I see it. So yeah, Amy Coney Barrett, by the way, Trump's nominee for the Supreme Court, she has said that she loves the United States and she loves the U.S. Constitution. So I really hope she is swiftly approved. From what I understand, all that's needed for her to become a member of, or to be a member of the Supreme Court is that she gets elected with a simple majority, something the Democrats fixed actually. But I did hear that the Democrats are threatening with they're threatening with a lot of stuff to make sure she won't get elected, that she won't get approved as member of as a Supreme Court member. We'll see. Let's see. Sealand says, "Are you in the U.S. now?" A Swede speaks. Wherever you are, how are things going? I'm not in the US yet, but I hope I will be there well before the end of this year. I would really like to be in the US if and when Trump gets re-elected on November 3rd. That would be awesome. But at any rate, yeah, I'm getting there, but it's taking its sweet time. So hopefully I'll be there. Hopefully I'll be able to celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas in America. Let me put it like that. Let's see. Alicia Bell says, share this chat in your social media. Yeah, you can absolutely go ahead and do that. Absolutely. Lynn M says, I agree with you on so much. I hope you continue to reach many. Thank you for doing what you do. Well, thanks a lot for your kind words. Well, you can share this live stream, share my videos, spread your word. That's pretty much the best thing you can do. Absolutely. And Lynn M says, we would love to have you here in the US. Yeah, well, I hope your government will agree. I mean, to the best of my knowledge, they kind of have to agree. But yeah, absolutely. I would love to be in the US too when that happens. I've been to the US before, and it's wonderful. I hope it stays wonderful. Make America great again. Keep America great. Yeah, absolutely. So there's 12 minutes left. So hit the thumbs up button, share this live stream, and hey, if you want to send a super chat, you can do that too. All of that's awesome. Let's see. What is the COVID situation in your countries, and what is the situation when it comes to lockdowns? And do you think what do you think uh, is the right strategy when it comes to COVID? Uh, uh, I kind of said what I think. I think the Swedish strategy isn't that bad. I think it's kind of the right one, actually, in many respects. Not in all of them, because Sweden wasn't prepared. That's the big problem. But yeah, here in the Baltics, there's been lockdowns, but there's not a lockdown anymore. But there are some travel restrictions, so I can travel if I want to. But if I do, I'll have to self-isolate for 10 days when I get back. So it's better not to. Lynn M says, just go to a red state. It's safer. Yeah, you're right. It is safer in red states. I kind of have my eyes set on a specific place in the US. I don't want to be too detailed about exactly where in the US because you never know. You don't know who's watching this. Alicia Bell says, wow, I think if you're sick, stay home. Yeah, well, that's always the good idea. So absolutely. Strange thing in Sweden is that apparently if you have like a concert or something, uh, there's only you have a limit of 50 people, but then people go to shopping malls and there can be hundreds of them at the same place and nobody cares. So yeah, and so I mean that's kind of crazy. And she says, wear a mask or you can't socially distance. Yeah, I don't see many masks around here anymore. I did see that for a while, but now uh, I see. Let's see. She says, and stay 3 feet apart. Oh, right. Those are the rules in Wisconsin. Yeah, right. Here they had some restrictions, like you had to wear a mask in public transportation, but it seems like they removed those rules because they took down all the signs about that. And yeah, they pretty much opened up for. The only thing is that you can't travel where you want, or well, you can, but you'll have to self-isolate when you come back here. Kashin says, I agree that you should stay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, of course. Alicia Bell says, honestly, the sneezes of the fall allergies are the biggest problems. Yeah, I'm sure there are. Absolutely. Oh, and I assume you all heard about Uncle Ben's. They're changing the name of their brand to Ben's Original, and they are removing the picture of the black man from their packages. And I think it's kind of stupid. We could discuss the name if we want to. Maybe it's not a good name. I could give them that. Maybe it's better to have a different name because of the connotations with uncle. Maybe that's possible. But the picture is not a bad picture. It's not like a stereotypical picture. I don't see the problem with having that picture there. And they've had it there for 70 years. And I mean, I grew up with Uncle Ben's rice. I never saw anything with that picture that would. Well, I never. It never gave me any kind of crazy connotations. There were other pictures when I grew up that could have done that, but not that one. Alicia Bell says, call it Frank Brown's rice. Yeah, they could do that because that's the name of the guy whose picture they used anyway. So they could absolutely do that. Kashinyoki says that is sad. Yeah, so they shouldn't have black people on boxes now, or I'm not sure what they're thinking really. Kashinyoki says I grew up with him on the box. Yeah, and as I said, as far as I can say, it didn't. I mean, it's not a stereotype. It's just a picture of a sympathetically looking black man. Why couldn't you have that picture on the rice package? Metalhead Viking says he's racist, sexist, and homophobic. Yeah, I'm guessing that you're being sarcastic here. But yeah, uh, uh, I'm yeah, I think they should keep the picture. That's the short version. Kashinyoki says I liked it. Well, so did I. I think they're just confused. They don't know what to put on boxes anymore. Metalhead Viking says Kina puffar with no Chinese anymore. Chocolate here in Sweden. Yeah, this Chinese chocolate in Sweden, the picture they used to have there could actually be considered kind of offensive, as opposed to Uncle Ben's rice, because that one was a uh, stereotypical picture. Let's see, Lynn M says, I think it's racist against black entrepreneurs to remove their pictures and names in the spirit of anti-racism. Aunt Jemima made $1 million selling her syrup way back. Yeah, wasn't she the founder of that company anyway? Or maybe they just made her the face of the company, but she made a lot of money being that face? Let's see. Charles Keenan says, but if one cannot even say uncle anymore, what can one say? How many words are left after a member of the League of Constantly Offended have abolished all words that offend them? I'm not sure. I guess we'll have to read 1984 to find out. Lynn M says, yes, she was the founder. Yeah, so I don't understand why they removed her picture either. Because I don't know, that picture wasn't a stereotype, was it? Maybe it was, but hey, okay. Metalhead Viking says, but that's offensive. Well, you know the story about the boy who cried wolf. If you cry wolf all the time, nobody listens to you. Alicia Bell says, in our culture, people call black men uncle instead of Mister. Yeah, that's why I said maybe the name you could discuss that because that had some connotations, but the picture, I don't see a problem at all with the picture. Kashinoko says foolishness. Yeah, I actually saw a tweet yesterday. Uh, uh, it was Uncle Ben's in the UK, or Ben's Original, as they're supposed to be called now, who had tweeted about this, and a black musician named Suba, I think, Subi. He wrote that as a black man, I take offense. Please change it back. So yeah. Alicia Bell says it was a way of saying you're a second-class human, not a full human. Same with Ant, but it's also a term of endearment. So I'm undecided. Yeah. Well, yeah, yeah, right. That could be discussed. But the pictures, I don't see why they couldn't have the pictures. And by the way, uh, for those Swedes out here and anyone else who happens to know, you know about this Swedish caviar, Kalles caviar, with a picture of a really blonde boy. Can they keep that picture? I mean, it's not really stereotypical, but kind of. Why can they keep that picture, or will they remove that one too? I mean, who knows what's going to happen? So this entire woke culture is just crazy. That's pretty much what I have to say about that. So let's see here. So we'll see what happens next week. My time is a little limited these days, but uh, oh, let's see. Alicia Bell says the pictures were fine unless you are racist and hate black faces. Yeah, someone someone made the point that yeah, this woke culture is doing the KKK's work, sort of, and I kind of agree. Let's see, Metalhead Viking says, uh, Janne Josefsson was called up by Swedish TV for saying the word neger, N-word. Actually, N-word in America means, well, the bad word. So, the word that Southern racists would have used. Uh, let's see, when he was quoting someone else. And he said it didn't matter that he was quoting someone else. Yeah, hey, a quote is a quote. What can you do? Kashin says, goodbye, Sweden friends. Well, goodbye to you too. I hope I'll see you again next week. And Lynn M says, people of many colors use the terms uncle and auntie to describe a close family friend that is not family. Well, that is true. That is true. So, yeah, I don't know about the names, but the pictures, I don't see the problem with those. Uh, Alicia Bell says, that Spencer guy endorsed Joe Biden. Enough, he did. That's hilarious. Yeah. So as I was starting to say, my time is a little limited these days, so we'll see. But hopefully, maybe I'll be able to make a video next week too, if something interesting happens, apart from having a live stream. Again, next Sunday, I will live stream again at this time. Remember, it's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 8 p.m. Central European Time. Uh, so yeah, there will be another live stream next week. So I hope to see you all then. I'm kind of wrapping this up now. We're getting to the end of this week's live stream. So hey, if you have any last comments, prayer requests, anything, you can throw it in now. I'll stay a little longer to see if there's anything else coming in the chat before I wrap it up completely. Let's see here. Lynn M says the KKK endorsed Joe Biden. I'm sure they did. And Hera says peace from California. Well, peace to you too. Metalhead Viking says Kamala Harris says she will be president. Even Biden says it. Yeah, well, she might be counting on him being unable to run the country and she'll just do it for him. So, yeah, that's a possibility, absolutely. Metalhead Viking says, thank you and good night. Well, thank you too and have a good night. So, doesn't seem to be anything else coming in here now. Well, I'll see you all again next week. And hey, bring a friend, bring a family member, all of that good stuff. And share this live stream, share my videos. Go ahead and do all that. That'll be awesome. So, until next time, thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for participating. Have a great week, and God bless.